Uh, it, I started the video out wrong this time, but today is the day after Labor Day, which is like September 9th, I think, or 8th. No, 8th today, 9th tomorrow. My only real update van wise is I don't know if you see it or not. My paint is coming off a little right there, but I repainted it with rough texture and gray, and I don't remember if I put that on there last time or not. And I took off the cover. I think you guys know about that one, but my only real update work-wise is as of last Wednesday, I finally hit a deer. I missed a hell of a lot of deer, but I've finally hit one. And so I have to do a drug test tomorrow, and they've scheduled and rescheduled my appointment for at the clinic here because of COVID limiting when people can go in there. And then my kit wasn't there the first time I showed up. They didn't have like the little cup to pee in or something and send off to whatever lab, so had to wait on that. And then I came by today, and today is by appointment only, so I had to get an appointment for tomorrow. And I sit here waiting to take the drug test. The hours for PTI are basically like expediting, except for even less hours than, well, I wouldn't say less hours than Roadrunner, but it's not. Let's just say I'm glad I have unemployment to supplement it, because if I didn't have that, it would not be worth it. I like the nice cushy ride though in terms of the work for PTI. The 2015 and 16 Ford Expeditions that we drive, hell of a lot better seat than the ProMasters for driving for expediting. I could sit in that seat all day long. It's so nice. I kind of really wish that, you know, expediting vans like ProMasters had that seat, but at least I know where to get one now. Or not where to get one, but what type of seat to get. Because I could go take one from a Ford Expedition, put it in a van and drive that for expediting maybe someday. I don't know. I'm thinking about expediting next summer. Possibly. I don't know for sure yet if PTI is going to work out here or not. I got Montana ID and Montana driver's license last month, I think it was. It's good for 8 years. But Montana still is not requiring that you get the real ID on top of it. But you need the real ID to be able to go in the shipping ports or go in the airport or do anything that requires a real ID, an actual real ID. So I'm going to pay the extra $60 to turn in my regular ID that I got the other day and put it in for a new real ID. And it costs just as much as if I would have got it the first time. I just didn't have the extra $60 on me at the time. So now I'm thinking about going down to the courthouse, paying that little $60 and waiting another week or two for that to show up. Also thinking about buying the $175 worth of passport and book so that I'd have my passport. I don't know if I'll ever go out of the country to use it, especially nowadays with COVID. But I'm thinking about buying it so I have it as another form of identification, if need be. The van is still white, but I'm thinking about painting it, the outside of it, that gray color. Hopefully not lit through like that, but I'm talking about like rough textured gray on the outside, and maybe it won't be so against society's norms to put paint over the windows and stuff like that. If it's gray, maybe they won't notice it as much, and plus gray will match the interior, most of the interior. And I might spray paint that top portion gray too eventually. I'm kind of thinking all of that takes extra time and money, and then I gotta find places to sleep that night when you paint on the especially on the inside, because it just lingers for up to like 12 hours with off gases. So that's a little bit of an issue in getting the inside of it done. I want to make a partition wall here, goes all the way across, and mount a TV in the middle is what I was thinking. Or I might make a small little hole that I can climb through underneath if need be to access the front, because I've never been to on point about having a partition that completely separates the van from the driving section. Anything happens, like I had a couple older guys, they're like 40-year-old guys, I wouldn't say picking on the van, but I think they knew I was in there sleeping in it underneath the bridge during the daytime because I was working at night, so I was down there under the bridge to take advantage of the shade so it'd be cooler. They came down there to drink and to fish and stuff like that, and decided to mess with my van and rock it and everything else, and they're just messing around. But it reminded me of the fact that you can never predict what somebody else is going to do, and so I don't really want to completely separate the front from the back. So I might have to make like a little hole that I could squeeze through if I had to, if something happened, or maybe like a barn door type of thing, put barn door hinges and a swing door. through the middle or something that I can keep closed the rest of the time. So far, I'm thinking of staying here. This is September 8th. Thinking of staying here through September. Possibly into October, but see how cold it gets. Things didn't work out with Brianna, and I've hung out with a bunch of my friends up here, and I appreciate doing that. Being able to do that. You know, it's different than being alone all the time. But Wanderlust, or I don't know what, mostly the weather is starting to convince me to go out other directions, I guess I would say. Tonight's going to be 31 degrees is the lowest so far this year's calendar year. And the other day it was 100 degrees during the day, and now it's going to switch over to winter time. Right now it's not. But just last night, or yesterday, down in Red Lodge, which is an hour south of Billings, and Billings is 2.5 hours south of here, so about roughly 3.5 hours away from here, they had 10 inches of snow in one day, and they went from 100 degrees to 10 inches of snow the next day. Weird weather pattern, and it makes me wonder about what this winter is going to end up being. It doesn't look to me like it's going to be a mild winter, if it's already trying to start stuff in the middle, not even, that's the beginning of September, let alone October is usually when Miles City gets their first snowfall. We had rain the other day, so I'm hoping it don't snow till then, but it's getting cold enough temperatures, you know, 31 degrees tonight will be below freezing. So, and I don't know, I think it's something about traveling around all the time, and I got spoiled on the fact that I know there are better places to be. I could be down in Texas, I could be in Hawaii, in Florida, wherever, and not freezing ass. And the whole point of living in a van, or the major perk of living in a van, is your home is on wheels. So I am considering going down to like Galveston or South Padre Island, Texas, and work at the Walmart down there. It just pays like between 17 or 18 bucks an hour, because they have the gold, or the Border Rush thingy going on in that corner. And in order to keep workers on it everywhere else, they have to pay them way higher than normal places, I guess. So I was thinking about going down there and working like Cap 2, 17 bucks an hour. And I added it up the other day, and I'd only really have to work 2 days a week or less. Maybe even just 1 8-hour day a week to be able to get by on what I need, you know, with the food and gas. And I have insurance paid up till the end of January, and I have one phone paid up until the end of next June. I actually have 2 phones that have service right now at the moment for work. But with all that taken care of, I literally only need food and gas and maybe repair bills. Hopefully all the repair bills are done. I put $1,200 worth of repairs into this. $1,400 maybe even. I can't remember. Something between $1,200 and $1,400 worth of repairs into this van. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll get down there. That's the only major setback that I have against going down there or not. I was thinking about going through Rapid City, see friends of mine in Spearfish, Sturgis, Rapid City, and then go see my mom and my brother in Shattern, Nebraska for a night, and then head south of there, because I have not been on those back roads between I-25 and basically the eastern sides of well, between I-25 and I-29. I've not been on too much of the back roads between those states, like Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, down to Texas. I've been on the other portion, the east side of it, where 29, and I've also been up and down 25, because they're interstates. But there is a section of all the states that are back roads that I'd have to take, but I've never seen those towns. So it'd be worth seeing, because I haven't done it. And end up down on like a beach somewhere in Texas or something, well out of the snow. Something's telling me Texas might be the way to go. I mean, if the winter doesn't happen, if I go through October and it doesn't snow all that much, or mainly doesn't get cold all that much, I'll probably plan on staying here. But I mean, the odds are good that eventually it's going to get cold, and I don't worry about freezing, you know, right at 31 degrees. That's no big deal. But up in Montana, like that one year, there was a couple days worth that we were colder than Antarctica. You know, negative 20 degrees, negative 26 degrees. And there's just no way to live in a van in that. I mean, you can maybe get through it if you had a heater that could keep up with it. But I knew of a guy in the Walmart parking lot, or just outside the Walmart parking lot. He worked overnights at Walmart, and he passed out at his pickup at noon, of all times at noon, and still died of frostbite from those negative degree temperatures. And that's the thing I'm scared about. And so far, things have not worked out to where I can get ahead enough to do rent and utilities, rent and deposit. On a place, there's a couple. There's one that's $300 a month over there, and another one that's like $400 a month over that way. But I can't get ahead in time to do it, and I just think it would set me so far behind when my home on wheels has wheels. I should take advantage of that fact and go someplace else. Partially thinking about asking if I can transfer PTI down to Texas. I mean, they probably pay up to yin yang during the oil field thingy for the trains and all that going through there. But I at one time heard you got to be working for them for 3 months or 6 months or something, and I've been working here since June, so June, July, August, working into September. I might just barely qualify for a transfer. Have not decided yet, but they have said as long as I give them 2 weeks notice, it's nationwide company, I could just go back to work for them anywhere, because now I already passed the background test. Or the background check and drug test and all that, and my record is clean enough for them and whatever, so you can literally just stop in someplace and apply and be driving within a week for them about anywhere, which is good to know. I just haven't decided what to do yet. I'm about 50-50. I mean, if my hours got better for PTI and I was barely able to keep up enough to do the deposit and rent ahead of time so I could get ahead, then I would consider staying here in the winter, because then I wouldn't have the threat of negative degrees and frostbite. But it's a very real thing when you're living in a van in Montana in the wintertime. It's not something you want to mess with. Anyway, that's my latest update. I'll get that uploaded to you. That's basically the gist of what happened. I hit a deer, and I'm thinking about possibly moving out, depending on the hours or the pay that I get. Or not pay that I get, I don't know. And I'm also thinking about February or March of next year, if COVID crap goes away, and expediting maybe opens up and gets busy from having the year of not being busy, that I could go work again for somebody. I liked working for Roadrunner, and I could see how Roadrunner would give you a hell of a lot of miles way back in the day before COVID. But when COVID happened, it just killed that. And I heard rumors anyway, and seen an article that they didn't survive it, that they changed to the aerial group ground section or something like that. Name's different, so they sold out. It's part of that airport freight thingy there, but I'm sure some companies bit dust, I don't know. Work requires the mask most of the time. It's about 50-50. You know, most crews see me not actually wearing the mask. They're seeing me wearing this, but not wearing it on my face. And, you know, if they don't care, I don't care kind of thing. You know, if they get in and don't do the mask on their policy and they're in, then it doesn't matter to me. Because in my opinion, the masks really don't help. Not in a tight enclosed space like a car. When you're in there with them for 2 or 3 hours. By the time that trip is done, 2 or 3 hours, you have everything that the other person has in the car, whether they had a mask on or not. It's just way too close of space together, I think, to make it any kind of difference in the mask. I'm not even sure the mask make any kind of difference. In my opinion, if you're tested positive for COVID, then you should have to wear a mask. But outside of that, I don't think it makes a diff. Just my opinion. I do think that keeping the 6 foot or 10 foot away from everybody, not touching anybody with a 6 foot pole, as the phrase is a legitimate thing to do in terms of fighting the flu or any kind of virus. That, I think, is your best bet, is stay that far away from people. That I can totally get behind. But wearing a mask is just stupid. But that's for another video. Like and subscribe, leave comments. I will try and make at least a last video before I leave town here, if I do or not, or if another update comes up or not. So leave comments, and we'll see you on the next video, possibly in a month, maybe in 2 weeks, I don't know, something like that. Peace.